Hey guys, AC here. I do apologize. I've not done a review for a while now, but work was taking precedence. But I'm back. So, what I've got today for you is a fragrance which will really excite you. It's called Acqua Di Parma Colonia Quercia. Quercia stands for oak. Now this is the presentation, boys. It's beautiful presentation. I don't know whether you can see it properly. This is part of the ingredients line. These bottles, the brown bottles, are basically what is known as ingredients line. They focus on one specific expensive perfumery ingredient. This was released in 2016. This particular version of Quercia focuses on oak, or rather oak moss. Now, in 2016 there was another one released called Sandalo, which focuses on the blossoms on sandalwood trees. I'll review that as well. And I own a couple of other fragrances from this line, from the ingredients line. One is Colonia Leather and the other one is Colonia Oud. And I'm very impressed with all three. So, oak tree has a special significance in Italian society. It is basically known as the king of trees, and it stands for power, strength, nobility, that sort of thing. And there's a special area, it's known as Piedmont. Piedmont is probably housed to some of the Italian aristocracies. As we know, before 1800s, Italy was basically a collection of states. It only became Italy back in 1860s, I think, if I'm not wrong. So this goes back to that aristocratic past, and it tries to signify a walk through the countryside of Piedmont, which is full of oak trees. Now, as we all know, oak moss is a lichen which grows on oak trees, and it has the extract from oak moss has this amazing damp, foresty, manly kind of a scent, which was used very heavily in the 70s and 80s. And 2014 is when IFRA stuck its oar in and said, you know what, oak moss there are two active molecules within oak moss which can affect 8% of the population. Hence, anything with oak moss was either reformulated or a chemical substitute was used. I'm assuming the two active molecules that cause problems to people is not being used in this fragrance. But yeah, the oak moss here doesn't smell anything like the 70s fragrance, if that got you worried. So, let's start. I've got it right on my left hand, or left wrist I should say, and here is a look at the atomizer. It's beautiful, guys. Amazing atomizer. This is slightly expensive than the blue Mediterranean line. Yeah? The moment you spray, you get the slightly powdery, green, citrusy smell, which is highly attractive. The two notes they're using, bergamot and lemon. And what they do is the powderiness that you smell straight away is basically at the base of the fragrance they use tonka. So tonka has this powdery yet creaminess to it. There's no creaminess in this fragrance, but the powderiness is coming out. It's also very bright and sprightly because it uses pepper, red peppercorn, I believe. So that is how it starts. Now the moment I sprayed it, it reminded me of a fragrance. And that fragrance is Amouage's Beach Hut Man. The dry down of Beach Hut Man becomes very attractive. Beach Hut Man is also a green scent. This is a green scent. So the dry down of Amouage Beach Hut Man is the beginning of this fragrance. Only when you're smelling it in the evening time. It's lovely. During the daytime when it's really hot, this fragrance smells a bit like the beginning. It's a bit like a mixture of, let's say, green Irish tweed with Dior Sauvage. The opening of Sauvage and green Irish tweed. Mix them. You roughly get an idea how this smells when you first spray it. It's actually a very attractive scent. Unfortunately, there are only two reviews on YouTube. One is a really bad review. It's a negative review. And one is a good review. So I want to change the odds. This is a very good fragrance. I don't know why it's got such a negative review. This is only the third review on YouTube. And I'm telling you, this fragrance is absolutely worth your time. If you want to sample it, you will not be disappointed. It's a fantastic fragrance. Soon, there's a bit of bitterness that comes in, and that's the bitterness from tonka. There is another note which I quite like in another Acqua Di Parma, and that is the original Intensa. They've used a combination of cedar and cardamom, and you can start smelling it. You can also start smelling neroli. And you know what? Neroli cardamom is a winning combination. Think Daniel Icon. Such a stylish summer beauty. This one starts to remind me of, doesn't remind me of Daniel Icon, but reminds me of a manly, bright and confident fragrance. Not remind me, but impression. The impression it creates, very confident. And you know, oak symbolizes confidence, courage. They've got the spot on, guys. The beauty of this fragrance is when you smell it. You'll not be able to resist smelling your wrist again and again. So, neroli, lemon, bergamot is what you get at the top with pepper. And then what joins the party is cardamom and cedar. Those are the two which give it that bit of what you call muscle. The muscle comes from the cedar and cardamom combination. Beautiful, very aromatic but dry. The fragrance is turning green. The evolution, there are two evolutions of this fragrance. The initial sprightly, bright, that it turns into, very soon it turns into a green, bright, citrusy fragrance. And the dry down. The dry down is outstanding because it brings in a woody note, and that woody note is cedar, but then comes in oak moss. And the oak moss here is nothing like the 70s oak moss. It's like a very dry, woody, manly scent. So combine green with dry, woody, manly and wrap it around with a beautiful lemon. That's this fragrance. The dry down also has a very nice execution of patchouli, but it's a very modernized patchouli. So base of the fragrance has tonka, patchouli, oak moss. Beautifully done. Yeah. So starts off smelling like a sauvage and green Irish tweed in summertime, high heat. In not so high heat, it reminds me of straight away the dry down of Beach Hut Man. Then brings in slightly darker green note and combines it with neroli and cardamom. What an interesting twist. And then the dry down keeps all those intact but brings in oak moss and tonka, the bitterness of tonka. It's a fine fragrance, really, really good and very attractive. Highly confident fragrance. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. So, number one pro. I really like the fragrance. It's very modern, it's very classy, and it's very confident. Yeah, this is the biggest pro. It's how confident and classy and modern this is. And I would also add, this is quite a sophisticated, stylish kind of a scent. Perfect for formal wear. Yeah, I'm thinking office. Perfect for meetings. Number two, it has this evolution as I explained, you know, green, bright to bitter, green, manly, bright. That evolution is what keeps the fragrance very interesting, and every time you wear it, you get slightly different facet based upon the weather outside. As I said, on a very hot day, this smells like a combination of sauvage and green Irish tweed. You can imagine how nice it is. But that's just a little part of the story. There are more aspects to this fragrance. So that's the second benefit or pro. The third pro of this fragrance is the longevity. It's, in spite of being a green bright fragrance, this has got tremendous longevity. At least 6 to 8 hours, at least. Yeah, even more under your shirt. And the dry down is the bit which I enjoy the most, and it smells the most amazing in its dry down. Here it smells like a designer, and the dry down smells like a proper Acqua Di Parma, you know. It's beautiful, high quality stuff. So in terms of longevity, 8 hours. In terms of projection, you know, if you spray it on your shirt, this thing is strong. If you go 2 or 3 sprays, you will fill the room for the first 4 hours. Everybody will smell you. This thing has got serious performance. Sillage. If you go 2 or 3 sprays under your shirt, you will smell it all day the moment you move. High quality stuff, very well made, beautifully constructed. That is the fourth pro. The construction, the structure of the fragrance, the intelligent use of various notes they've chosen. It's a fantastically conceived construction, very nicely done, balanced, smooth, attractive, confident. Those are the words. Downsides. This doesn't smell like an Acqua Di Parma, you know. Acqua Di Parma has its own signature thingy. So if you're very used to that Acqua Di Parma, this doesn't smell like an Acqua Di Parma. It's a very different take. And you know, Tonka and the oak moss are the two different things that brought in and changed the fragrance signature, if you like. So if you're very used to the Colonia line, this will surprise you. And it might even upset you, because you might start thinking they're trying to do a sauvage thing, you know, bright, citrusy, reaching out to people, huge projection, great longevity. They're trying to do a sauvage thing. Some people criticize this fragrance because they think this is Acqua Di Parma's take on sauvage. It is not. It's more than that, much more than that. So that's one downside. The second downside is the price point. Anything in the ingredient collection is expensive. So this is a 100 ml bottle. It's close to 110 pounds. Sometimes you can get it for about 90. The 180 ml, which is the next configuration, there are only 2 sizes in this collection, 100 ml, 180 ml. That's about 150 bucks. So both bottles, you can't justify the price sometimes, bearing in mind what you're buying. But think about creeds. This is basically a creed type fragrance, creed type signature. You're happy to pay 250 for a creed. See what I mean? So it is a downside. Yes, you might think, oh, what I'm smelling doesn't smell like a 100 pound fragrance. That could be a slight criticism. So those are the 2 downsides I can think of. Another pro that I forgot to mention is the versatility of this fragrance. I've worn this in winter. I'm wearing this in summer. I've worn to dress up. I've worn this to a cricket match. It is a fantastic compliment magnet, right? And it's versatile. Wherever you wear this, you will shine because people will smell you. If you go 5-6 sprays, no competition. Even if somebody is wearing a Ventus, you will absolutely dim them. That's how potent the juice is. There are a lot of positives in this juice. So in terms of weather, all weather, very versatile. You can wear this in any weather and you will shine. You will smell really classy. In terms of age groups, I say anywhere between 25, because oak moss is slightly mature note, but you know, you should try it. Even if you're less than 25-year-old, you should try it. See if it works for you. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't impress you. This is a very impressive fragrance. Upper age group, no limit. If you have a sense of style, if you have charisma about you, this is a very charismatic fragrance. I have received tremendous amounts of appreciation from my colleagues at work because they smell it and they say, you know, this is really stylish. Yeah, there's something about this fragrance which really gets people noticed, and they love smelling this on you because it smells so affable, very welcoming, warm, and very modern and stylish. So I guess I've covered all aspects. Yeah? Highly versatile, highly wearable, very classy, modern, sophisticated scent. You can't ask for more, right? And with great performance. The only thing is it's quite expensive. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. In my books, this is a winner. Yeah, and you should sample it. If you're into wearing suits to work, you should definitely sample this. It's a fantastic fragrance. I hope you enjoyed the review. Acqua Di Parma Colonia Quercia. Top banana. I love this fragrance. Take care. Bye-bye.